My name is Maria Bezubova, and you're at my channel Fertilizers Jazz. Here we talk about events, trends, technologies in the world of fertilizers and agriculture. Please subscribe to the channel, put like to this video, and let's jazz! Today I am very glad to host a very interesting guest, Andrew Semple, who is Chairman and CEO of Innovar AG. I am delighted to have you today, Andrew, and thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Maria. On behalf of the industry, congratulations on your channel, and no doubt you'll be successful just like you are in everything that you try. So we're here to support you, and we really enjoy being involved in things like this.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your kind words. So today, together with you, I would like to step into the exciting world of specialty fertilizers and check how you see its development. So first of all, to me, the specialty fertilizer segment is, like a big ocean. With commodity fertilizers, everything is more clear and more simple. You have a couple of, basic nutrients and a couple of basic products based on those nutrients. You just know and learn all of them and follow, and that's it. But specialty fertilizers, they contain so many diverse products, so many diverse segments, like, for example, water solubles of all kinds, and also micronutrients, and nutrient use efficiency promoters like slow and controlled release fertilizers. So it's only the start of the whole thing. So my first question to you is, how do you in general evaluate the global specialty fertilizers market if we compare it to the commodity fertilizers market? How big is that in comparison? And in which segment is your company actually playing?
Okay. Yeah, I know that you've had some analysts on the show before, and they'll be much more accurate than I will be. So I'll talk in generalities, okay?
Sure.
And some of the numbers would basically come from my own experience or my team's experience, as well as attending any IFA event or statistics and those type of things, okay? But yeah, you hit the nail on the head as it relates to the EEF market is very interesting. There's a lot of information in there. And I think our job is to get that information to the end users, help them to understand it and see the value in those technologies, and that they're money makers for them. And so the correlation between the EEF industry and the actual commodity fertilizer industry, the EEF fertilizer industry is growing at a more rapid pace than the commodity fertilizer, and that would be expected. My first experience in these type of technologies was in the golf business, and that was one of the things that I had a vision to do, is to take those technologies in golf and make them affordable and find a fit for them in agriculture. So back in the late 90s, in the golf industry, there was as much as 70 to 80% of the nitrogen that was being applied was some sort of an EEF. And whether that be a urea formaldehyde fertilizer or a stabilized fertilizer, there were many different types at that time, but it was about 70, 80% penetration. And so when we started the Agritain company in 2000, we basically started with very minimal adoption in agriculture for inhibitors. And now at Innovar today, 24 years later, we see a much more larger adoption, but still very shy of that 70 to 80% that we saw in the golf market back then. So there's a lot of opportunity. I mentioned the golf market because I think that can be done in agriculture as well. But it's going to take time, education, and some augmentation of the products to make them affordable for farmers. So there's currently about 16 million tons of EEF type fertilizers that are consumed globally. Okay, and there's three areas of those that make up the EEF market. For the most part, there's the stabilized nitrogen fertilizers, the water-soluble fertilizers, and the controlled release fertilizers. And each of those in that order hold the largest percentage of the market. Stabilized nitrogen fertilizers are about 65% of the market, while we have water solubles at around 25. Don't quote me, but around there. And then the CRF is about 10% in that category. So where our company, Innovar, where we focus on is we call ourselves experts in the stabilized nitrogen fertilizer market, as well as the efficiency market. We've moved from just looking at urease and nitrification inhibitors that when we started the company, and now we sell many different, manufacture and sell many different products that are all targeted for efficiency in the agriculture business.
I see, thank you. And if we move from the global level to a more regional kind of level, which geographical markets do you think are the most developed right now already in terms of consumption of specialties, all in all specialties, and what is the reason for that?
Well, I can speak really hone in a little bit best on stabilized nitrogen fertilizer,
Sure.
Okay, and relate it directly to your question. The U.S. represents about 50% of the consumption. Okay, sorry, North America, and that's followed by Latin America, which is about 20%, but that's the most rapidly growing area, and then East China is about 15 to 20% of those stabilized nitrogen fertilizers, and then the rest of the world makes up the final 10.
Wow, so Europe is not that much a consumer.
Well, I think there's more of the controlled release fertilizers that are being utilized there, and then Europe is absolutely poised for some significant growth, especially in the stabilized nitrogen category, when you have countries like Germany, Netherlands, UK recently that are going to mandate or incentivize heavily people to utilize those technologies in agriculture in those countries. And so, of course, more countries will follow with that.
And what type of the farmers in the US, you mentioned that about 50% of consumption is, let's say, North America, not only US, North America. What type of farmers are those who are in the segment, are using the products? What is their profile usually? How do you see it? Let's say what they're looking for when they choose these products.
The U.S. market was a subsidized market for many years, but there's a lot of entrepreneurial farmers also, right? And so starting back in the early and maybe the 80s and 90s, there were some nitrification inhibitors that were being incorporated into the ammonia business, right? The anhydrous ammonia business. And that received a very, very high penetration of use in that area. So that represents a lot in the U.S. of stabilized nitrogen in that area. But the farmer that started to use it, of course, it was the innovators in the early 2000s. And now that we're into the early majority of people that are using it in the U.S. And the awareness, I think, is one thing that has really helped to motivate that. But that awareness is related directly to the return on investment that a farmer can get when he uses these technologies. They're very much plug and play. The farmer doesn't have to do anything different in his farming operation to utilize them. Everything's done at the dealer level. It's applied to the fertilizer. And the return on investment is between a 3-to-1 to 10-to-1 return for them to use it. So as soon as that early majority hears about a neighbor that's having success with them, then they're really open to trying it as well. And fortunately, that seems to be the direction that is happening in North America.
I see. And you mentioned that Latin America, to your view, is one of those markets which has potential to grow in the most rapid way. So why do you think is that? What are the main factors that will drive consumption there more than anywhere else?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot less fertilizer was consumed, in South America than in North America. So I don't know if that affected the adoption, but I can remember in the early 2000s, Brazil, as an example, had a pretty high rate it made it to the 10% level of adoption of these technologies very quickly. And I'm not sure exactly what it is today, but they were obviously the innovative country there, and pretty much these technologies are being sold in all countries now. And they're the entrepreneurial part, there aren't any subsidies there at all. So if people find a way that they're going to be able to be more efficient and make more money, as well as doing the right thing for the environment, then I think that's what's driving the adoption there.
And how do you see Africa in this respect? Because recently everyone sees African market as the most developing ones. I'm talking commodity fertilizers, of course. So the pace of their development is definitely the highest globally. And what do you think in respect of specialties there?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about that market. I could be wrong on this, Maria, but I think that maybe they were a little bit behind the rest of the world on the use of fertilizer, and so that's going to take some time to make the step from just continuing to harvest the land to replacing it with the nutrients and then replacing it with efficient nutrients. But for the opportunity and the hedging of business growth around the world, Africa is going to be a huge opportunity.
And what do you think, not only for Africa, but also for other regions that will be developing quickly? What do you think are really the main drivers? So what should be done? Is it more about, showing value to the farmers? Is it more about, trying to grow penetration itself, like to learn learn them about these products at all? So what are those key drivers that need to develop the market?
Yeah, our experience has been that there needs to be communication to the world, to the farmers, that these technologies are economically viable to use them, that they're agronomically sound to use them, and that they have an environmental benefit as well, right? And if you can tell those three things, and you can do it effectively, that's going to get a person to try the products. And normally the history is they'll try them, and then the next year they double the amount they use, and the next year they double that amount. That's kind of the trend that happens there. But the biggest potential influencer is the governmental regulation and the influence that way. That's where we see, as for an example, in Canada, the government has targeted a 30% emissions reduction in fertilizers. I don't think it's reducing fertilizers, but it's an emissions reduction. And because of that, we've seen some significant growth in Canada. And so that's where I believe the biggest opportunity is going to be for the fastest growth, and just the organic growth will happen in the other countries.
I see. You mentioned regulations. So do you think which regulations in terms of fertilizers usage efficiency drive the most on the global, or maybe on regional, or maybe at country level? So you mentioned Canada. Maybe you have some other good examples to demonstrate those things.
Yeah, my understanding of some of the countries in Europe is this: if you apply a urea-based fertilizer and you're not incorporating it into the soil, then it's regulated that you must use a urease inhibitor to protect that nitrogen from going off into the atmosphere. And so that awareness, it shows the rest of the world that if the government's regulating that, then they've done their research. They know that the products work, right?
Right.
So that helps to validate them, and people become aware of that. But just in those particular countries that they must use them, that's obviously the significant growth.
Also, in terms of regulations, some news always come from India that they would like also to drive more and more covered urea and slow-released urea. However, India is really a big consumer of urea, and how do you think how fast they will be able to apply actually those wishes to actual market?
Well, other than, back many years ago, the European Commission had I believe it was 2078, where they called for a 10% reduction of all fertilizers in Europe. So that was the first that I was aware of that were related to that type of thing. But following after that, even before Germany or Netherlands or the UK saying to use these, I believe India is the example where they regulated a use of a efficiency type product for the urea. And I think that they had different motivations than just the efficiency of it. Because the government had limited amounts of urea that they could use in the country. But they were the first country I know of that made a mandate to use some sort of a efficiency product on the urea. And I won't mention the name of it in promoting it for them, but that was the first one. And then that's evolved, I think, a little bit now to some discussions, talks, plans to utilize some of these other technologies as well.
I see. And I would like to ask you to elaborate more about your products of your company, so that the listeners and watchers will know more who you are and what you do, because your products are really very interesting and high quality ones. So it would be nice if more and more people will learn about them.
Yeah, thank you, Maria, for that. Yeah, we're very excited about the industry, about the products that we can bring to the industry, and about our team. We've got a team of professionals that have been involved in this type of business for about 20 years. All of us have. And through that time, we're almost, a lot of us were the pioneers of these type of technologies, and being able to introduce them, understand them, introduce them, and then help them move through the channel, because that seems to be the biggest blockade in the industry, is they can develop a good product, but how do you get it to the market and into the farmer's hands? And if there are companies that do want to sell it, how do those companies sell it, and who trains them how to sell it? Who trains their people? Because most of the companies were big commercial or big commodity fertilizer bases, and the way you sell these type of products versus a commodity are totally different. So we're lucky that we've got a team that can partner with a company in a local country and teach them about the products, how to sell them, work with their sales team, and basically have an opportunity to service their customers and with our technologies. So that's some of the value that we bring outside of the technology itself. But we do have patented technologies, ones that are cutting edge, that we feel that are the latest and the greatest, that offer different benefits than some that we might have heard of, that might have been like a phase 1 or phase 2 or phase 3 type product. We're involved in the urease inhibitor business, the nitrification inhibitor business, the combination of those, as well as one of our newest products, which is called PKME, not just focuses on the urea or the urea ammonium nitrate side of the business, or the ammonia, but it also focuses on the phosphate, the potash, and micronutrients, and creating an environment that all those are efficient as well. So we like to go with an opportunity that we're trying to grow our business to 70 countries now. We're in almost 40. We've got a mandate to get to 70. And through some of our partners in the industry, we're going to get there for sure. And so that's one of our plans, is to get to 70. But then we also want to continue to bring new technologies to the market that work and fit that category of environmentally friendly, economically viable, and also agronomically sound. So our team is a fantastic team. The culture of our company is very important to us, and the culture of our partners are as well. And I just see nothing but upside for the industry as well as for this category.
Thank you. Indeed, that's totally true. So, Andrew, my perhaps last question to you today is, how farmers, in fact, should navigate in this ocean of specialty fertilizers. Let's assume that I'm a, a basic farmer. I don't know anything or know very little about specialties. I'm just using my commodity fertilizers. So from where should I start? And how to choose the right solution and right direction?
Yeah, that's a great question, because they probably get hit with 1,000 different opportunities, right? And the question is, how do I know which one works and which one doesn't, or how do I know which? So my advice is, whoever your existing supplier is today, they're probably a supplier to you because you trust them, and you trust them to bring these technologies to you, the ones that you're using today. But then the ones for the future, I'd go to the guys that you trust. You know, go to the suppliers that you have right now. To, if you're in the U.S., your local dealer that becomes aware of the technologies and can work that way. Because just to find a company and buy it on the internet like we do for Amazon and stuff like that, that's going to be a challenge, because there are a lot of different moving parts to these type of technologies. And I'll just give you one example. The codability of these technologies are amazing. They really are. That you can add a liquid onto fertilizer in a blender, and that it covers almost every granule within minutes, and then that it'll pour out of the blender and into a bag or into a pile, or it can go straight to the field and spread like it doesn't have any liquid on it. It's just amazing. I mean, that's the patents of the technology. So there, to come up with that, there's been a lot of trials and tribulations, right? And so that work has already been done, and that's already been done by the suppliers to the farmer that the farmer trusts already. So my advice is go to people you trust.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Andrew, for the very insightful and very interesting discussion as always. And I wish you all the best, and I wish a lot of success to your company and to your team. And of course, I will be very glad to see you again sometimes at Fertilizers Jazz with updates from you and from your company.
Okay, Maria, thank you very much, and congratulations again, and wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. I will leave all credentials of Innovar AG below this video. Please subscribe to the channel, put like to this video, and see you soon.